Ross, do you have another question that came in? Where are you getting these questions, by the way?
This is coming from Flight Directly from pilots. So this is from a 737 Captain Scott Wirtz here at DFW. Why, it's more airport focused. Why does DFW not have the ability to surge ground crews after a weather event or surge gate agents to help with rebooking passengers? We can see weather approaching. Why not pay agents and crews to be on call like pilots and flight attendants?
Joe Taney. God, I got so much help today. For good so anyway, Joe Taney.
So I think a couple questions in there regarding both our employees and for our pilots and for our customers. So we do have a current kind of menu of tools that we use. We have refuel and refresh that we pull out. Typically it's about 2-hour delay or more. We bring that out for our customers. If you've seen them, they're kind of racks that are in the gate lobby areas that are for our customers primarily. And it's just a nice touch. We put them in our service centers as well, so that customers, when they're dwelling in line waiting to be helped, they also have refuel and refresh. And they're just, soda, dry goods, water, chips, stuff that will last for a while. We're experimenting actually with it's kind of a box lunch type thing for our employees. And we've actually going to have rolling this out end of this week because we have had a lot of operational impact issues, where we have kind of a box lunch that we are using for our employees as well. And we've done that kind of individually throughout our hubs and in our stations, where if you're there for a long time on your feet dealing with customers that have been, being rebooked or whatever, we bring out some of these goods for our employees. We typically in the past old days have been doing like pizzas and stuff like that, but we're trying to formalize it so that when we get into these events, we just hand out food to our employees as well. Regarding the pilots, I don't know that we actually have a program where we feed our pilots, but I think we can incorporate that. I'm looking at Kimball if there's anything.
Okay, hey, but again, I think the captain's question was more about having a reserve workforce, basically, as we do for pilots and flight attendants. So, the point, anyway.
So I can speak to the airports on that, and maybe, I don't know, I think there's some people from the pilot team that can help on the pilot side, but.
The pilots we have.
Yeah.
It's more, the question was,
okay, so for the ground employees, it's a tough one. We're not built and we're not staffed to handle kind of the magnitude of the IROPS that we currently have today. We talk about the aircraft out of service. We talk about the volume of cancellations. We don't have a good base of employees that we can just kind of go to a pool of people and bring in. We use overtime, we use shift and day off overtime. We have an ability to call out people whenever we see it coming, and we try to get as many people as possible. We try to actually avoid using Mando overtime, which is obviously very tough on our employees. But unfortunately, we have to do that at times because we just don't have the staff to handle some of these IROPS that we have. We typically stay ahead of it. We try to do a lot of preventative meetings where we can see the storm coming, for example, and we do a lot of call-outs for people. It's kind of an all-call. Come on in, help us out. And we still get a lot of people that do that from a reserve standpoint, but after you do that for a period of many, many storms, it dries up a little bit. People get tired of it. So it's tough to do that. But we don't staff for just we have some flexibility within the schedule to staff more to build those. And we do have some stations that are actually overstaffed right now because of carryover from like the icing days and stuff like that. But the reality is it's hard to staff the airline assuming you're going to have some, multiple IROPS like we're having. And so we're looking at options to do that now.
Yeah, thanks. And again, correct me if I'm wrong, but unlike pilots and flight attendants, if a flight attendant's not there, the aircraft's not moving. What happens at the airports, we do have enough people to man every single gate in the peak. It's not as though now you just have more people there, you have more customers there to manage, so that a lot of that, by the way, we can do a better job of managing with better technology for our customers where they can get themselves reaccommodated without having to stay in and talk to somebody, which we are doing much better today and will do better in the future. But it's a different sort of where you would need reserves. And indeed, what we do instead is what Joe said is what tends to happen is instead of needing more people, you need them to work more hours. The day gets extended. And so we end up doing things like mandatory overtime. It's one of the really painful things about what's happening today as well. I was in Charlotte yesterday. And people are getting awfully tired because we're having it's one thing to have a storm came in and here's mandatory overtime. It's another thing to have every day asking people to. It's not asking; it's mandatory overtime. The people in Charlotte, in a perverse attempt at good humor, have created the Mando Cup. That they walk around with a trophy for people. And again, there's great people trying, but letting know, how. Sharing with each other that they understand how tough it is and what we're doing to the team. But that's the way in airports that we end up dealing with the difficult operation. It's not so much that we wish we had more people at one point in time. It's that you need to have the day extended for them, right?
Correct.
All right,
Correct.
thank you.
Absolutely. Yep.